Hey, so tonight.
Bad life, bad day. What should I do? Bad life, bad day. What should I do?
So tonight's dinner is going to be a simple chili. So my daughter went ahead and made some beans. Now I knew we didn't have any regular beans when we went to the grocery store, but I wanted to use up what we had in the basement, and that was cranberry beans. I don't know, I tasted it, it doesn't just taste like a freaking bean, you know what I'm saying? So that's what we're gonna use. I'm gonna make it really simple. I'm gonna use tomato sauce and ground beef that is cooked but still frozen in the freezer. And then taco seasoning and a ranch packet. Is that it? And the beans, obviously. And then she's making cornbread, and I'm gonna make some spaghetti. I think that's it. I'll show you the beans. Let's show you the beans. These are the cranberry beans. When they started to cook, they would look really withered and wrinkly. It was really weird. But I tasted them, and they taste just like, I don't know, maybe a pinto bean or something. But we'll use probably a couple cups of this and then freeze the rest of them for next time. Okay, so this is my bag of, it's not so frozen anymore, but it's just about a half a pound of ground beef cooked. So I'm just gonna add my sauce, and then I'm gonna add probably like 2 cups of my beans, taco seasoning, a ranch packet, and I have my meat in here, so boil it a little bit and then simmer it for a while, and make some spaghetti too. Let's spoil this on me. So I put taco seasoning in, and then I like to put more chili powder in too, after the fact. Oh, that's all there is in there. Do you have more of this? Chili powder. Gotta go find some chili powder. Not everybody likes chili, so I'm gonna add some olive oil to the spaghetti. And it's all done, so we have corn out, sour cream, cheese, all the fixins, like I might get out little tomatoes, and we have cornbread too. Hey, so tonight's dinner is going to be cottage pie or shepherd's pie because we're using ground beef. So I'm just going to start getting out my potatoes to peel them, to wash them, peel them, and start making mashed potatoes. And then I still have to get my frozen vegetable bag out of the freezer along with like a pound of ground beef. So that's what I'm gonna start on. Get my potatoes out. This is the kind of dinner that I like to make because it doesn't require a recipe or anything. You're just making homemade mashed potatoes and then adding whatever vegetables you want. I've used, you know, I've cut up carrots before with it and another vegetable I can't remember. Probably canned peas or something like that. But anyway, tonight I'm just going to be using a bag of frozen vegetables and ground beef. And I don't know how many pounds. Obviously, like I said, I'm not using a recipe, so I'm just gonna make an amount I think I need, which is, I guess, the rest of this bag. I guess. And then I'm gonna add cheese like 5 to 10 minutes, you know, when it's almost done, completely baked in the oven. So I'm just gonna chop these potatoes up and then cover them with water and start boiling them on my stove. Oh, I missed a piece. We got our frozen vegetables out, and then 2 bags of these frozen ground beef, which equals about a pound total. So, but now I gotta finish my potatoes. I'm still working on my potatoes, so I'm not preheating my oven yet, but when I do, it's gonna be 350. Right now I'm just gonna grease my casserole dish. Have that ready. And I'll probably put my vegetables and meat into a bowl and mix that around. Put some seasonings on it. You know, the regular seasonings like salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, Italian. So my water is boiling with my potatoes, so I'm going to boil them for about, you know, medium-high for like 15-20 minutes until I can poke it with a fork and it's tender. And then I'm going to add butter, some milk, and heavy cream. I do also like to put, if I have some chicken, add some chicken to this too, some cooked chicken, but tonight I'm just going to be using ground beef. Because the chicken gives it a good taste too. But I know that this is technically cottage pie because shepherd's pie is lamb, I believe. But I gotta say, I've never even had lamb in my life, and I wouldn't even know where to buy that. So there's that. I'm using probably 1 pound-ish of this frozen vegetables, plus 1 pound approximately also of the cooked ground beef. And then I'm going to use salt and pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, just the basics that I like to use, and Italian too. And then, like I said before, I'll put it in the oven about 350 for about, I don't know, probably about 25 minutes. And then take it out and put cheese on top for another 5 to 10 minutes, and that'll be good. And I really don't know how much of this to do, but it's all a guess. It'll all work out. It's fine. I'm gonna put a little bit more vegetables. It's probably gonna be too much, but whatever. The combination is good with rice too, so it's not like it's gonna go to waste. And actually, I sometimes just like to have for myself this vegetables and ground beef on the stove, plain, with some salt and pepper. Now I gotta get my seasonings. I like to put salt and pepper on my potatoes too, so. And you know, approximately teaspoon-ish, except for the onion powder. I love onions, but onion powder just smells so disgusting, but so I just always use a smaller amount of that. Like I said, don't forget to use chicken sometime. And I mean in addition to ground beef. Ground beef and chicken. Cooked chicken. It's so good. Just gives it a little bit of a different taste. And it's really good. I know how all of you love canned chicken, so add that. Haha. Okay, now I'm just gonna work on my mashed potatoes. Oh crap. Okay, so my potatoes were in there a little bit less than 20 minutes. So I'll show you if I can get one up here. So like, it's kind of like, you know. Anyway, so now I'm going to drain them. I'm going to turn on some cold water while I drain it with this really hot water. So, I do like to use my mixer. I'm not doing that tonight. And I used to have a potato masher, but I think it broke, so I don't have that. But what I do like to use is a whisk. That seems to work really good, so that's what I'm gonna do. First, I'm gonna start with half a stick of butter. That's what I'm gonna do. Just need you to melt. And you know I'm gonna add the rest of that stick of butter, of course. And then I'm not gonna measure it, but I'm gonna add milk and heavy cream. Ah, I just kicked the camera. So the pan I'm using is 13 by 9 casserole dish, whatever. Just trying to get the butter to melt before I put the cold stuff in there. Already pretty smooth. There's not much milk in here. It's gonna fall apart. And some heavy cream. And of course salt and pepper. And you know, I don't mind lumps in the potatoes. Like, I welcome them. It's fine, as long as most of them are pretty smooth. Some lumps, hey, adds character. And then you just want to taste it and make sure it has enough butter, it's the right consistency that you like, and salt and pepper. So I'm gonna put salt and pepper in it too. For finishing that. Didn't want to put that much in there, but milk was almost gone, so there's that. Which is okay, because it's going back in the oven too, so it'll be all good. Okay, so I'm gonna try it and then start assembling it. Delicious. Okay, now I'm going to assemble it. This is a guess on how much you want at the bottom, or like halfway up-ish. Hopefully I can use all this, but yeah, that's a pretty big, there we go. Mashed potato time. It's easier to spread on something like this too when it is creamier, of course. So I have my oven preheated to 350. Put a little bit more liquid in there and it's so much easier to spread. I mean, it's going in the oven anyway, so. Oh, crap. But yeah, going in the 350 degree preheated oven for about 25 minutes. I'm going to take it out, spread some, what we like is extra sharp cheddar cheese, but obviously that's preference. So I'm going to put that on top and put it back in the oven for another 5 to 10 minutes. I'll just have to watch it and see. Watch it and see. This looks delicious. Except I'm making a mess. I will just have to lick my finger. Okay. Going in the oven. Okay, so it is all done and I can't wait to eat it because I love this cottage pie. So next I'm going to be making some beef stew, but I'm going to show you how we make our homemade chicken broth from a rotisserie chicken. So the rotisserie chicken was all cut up right there. We're going to freeze that and use it for future meals. But inside the crock pot you have the bones of the rotisserie chicken. You can just start. And then, so how much is this? About a tablespoon of vinegar was added to the crock pot, and then we have some rosemary is going to be added, and what is that? Italian seasoning. And then we have some celery, some carrots, and an onion that is going to be chopped up, and obviously we have salt too. That's all going to be added. Next, cover it with water. And then cover it and put it on your low setting for 8 to 10 hours. So it has been like 10 hours on low in here in the crock pot. So now what you need to do now is drain the liquid through a sieve and then store it in your clean jars. We're just gonna store ours in the refrigerator because I am going to actually be using a good amount of it tomorrow for stew, but we just try to use it within the next few days, or you can freeze it too. So there you go. So these 2 jars is what we got, which is not bad. And here's all the scraps. I think this is a half a gallon jar and a quart jar. So yeah, I'm gonna use a lot of that tomorrow for a stew, and then we'll try to use within the next few days. Otherwise, we need to put it in the freezer. But yes, there you go. That's how you do it, and that's how much we got. I think that is not bad. My daughter just reminded me. I'll probably end up using all of this tomorrow because of the amount of stew that we make. Plus making rice. That's what we always make with our stew is rice. So we can cook the rice with the broth. That'll work out perfectly. Hey, so tonight's dinner is going to be homemade beef stew. I'm actually using ground beef, not the beef stew meat, which is really good, obviously. But that costs a lot, so I don't do that every time. Now sometimes I do, and sometimes I make it in the crock pot. Tonight I'm not. I'm making it in my Dutch oven tonight. So we have carrots, red potatoes, can of corn, our homemade chicken beef broth that my daughter made yesterday, and ground beef. So I'm going to start with starting to cook my potatoes in the oven. My oven is preheated to about 425. I'm going to cut them up, put salt and pepper and garlic pepper and olive oil. I can fit through here, I don't know. So I washed and scrubbed my potatoes, and it was not a very good batch, but anyway, I'm just going to chop these up and put them on my pan. And I chose red potatoes specifically for this stew, which obviously means a lot of time I just use russet potatoes. What is it? And this one is garlic pepper, so good. Okay, so that's gonna go in the oven to cook first. While my potatoes are cooking in the oven, I'm going to go ahead and just start cooking my carrots in here in my Dutch oven. So I'm just going to add some olive oil and then my carrots. Oh my gosh, that did not just happen. Yep, I didn't turn it on. I went to turn it off and it turned on. So I just poured my carrots in here in olive oil. So now I'm just going to start cooking those. Oh my goodness. So sorry. I'm doing this with my left hand. This is not good. These are going to be good potatoes with the stew. Perfect. Red potatoes. Perfect for stew. A little bit and add my broth and my corn and my ground beef. And I'm also going to make rice. So when I cook, I usually keep to some very basic seasonings. And tonight is no exception. I am going to be using just salt and pepper, which obviously I already have. I use garlic pepper on my potatoes because I love that on the potatoes. And then I'm going to use a little bit of onion powder. I love onions, but the onion powder just stinks so bad. Some garlic powder, maybe some Italian, but definitely some rosemary. Very basic. But adding the rosemary to the stew will be good. I think I'm actually going to do that now. And then I'm going to add my corn, meat, and broth. I don't usually measure hardly at all, but it's going to be about a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of Italian, a tiny bit of onion. Oh, it just smells so bad. And some rosemary. So going in is about a pound-ish of cooked ground beef. That needs to heat up again. And then, we just bought this today, a can of corn. So mix that. And then make a mess, of course, naturally. And then, okay, so what I'm putting in next is the, I went totally blank. Broth, chicken broth that my daughter made last night. I have like a million things in the counter over here, but I wanted to talk to the camera for a second. I don't know if you can see me or not, this is really weird, but, so I'm gonna add our homemade, chicken broth, but I have a question for you guys. Please, in the comments, tell me. I keep calling it chicken broth, and I showed on here how we do it, but is it chicken broth or is it chicken stock? Is it broth or stock? I don't know. Please let me know in the comments. I was just curious, and I'd like to see what you all would say. So, there's that. And I'm also going to use it to make my rice, too. Yeah, so this right here is a half-gallon jar. And I still have a quart jar approximately left, and I'm gonna make my rice with that too. After I rinse it off, I'm gonna use that for my instead of water. So now I'm gonna turn this heat up a bit, and yeah, let this cook for a little bit, and then I'm gonna start on my rice. Okay, so I'm going to use the rest of this. This is about 4 cups for my rice back here. So I just added couple of teaspoons-ish of cornstarch with some water and used my little tiny whisk. And so I'm just adding some of that to thicken it up. And I'm basically waiting on my rice. Okay.